So AJ Styles was part of a Wizard World Q&A out in Portland over the weekend. And he talked about his experience in a nutshell with TNA Wrestling. Direct quote right here. Can't make this shit up. Ring of Honor treated me well, and New Japan treated me like a superstar. So I've got to credit them, who helped boost my ego a little bit, because it was definitely flattened due to TNA's service. Now, he would go on to talk about the great matches he had with Samoa Joe, Christopher Daniels, saying, at that time, Joe and I were hoping to make TNA a big deal. You know, that was what we wanted to do. The problem was the person who owned the company, she didn't see us as the stars that put TNA on the map. And not just me, but like Jerry Lynn, Christopher Daniels, Low Key, all those guys who did great things, and she didn't see it. Go put it bluntly, she wanted to be WWE light, and nobody wanted to see that. They wanted to see something different, and at one point in time, it was a great place to work. I don't know, but when you hear that, you're like, how you really feel, AJ? I just was like, look, I have not one, I have 2 shoot interviews that AJ Styles had did. I definitely got the one where he sat down with RF Video shortly after the whole TNA thing, and he really felt like TNA just totally shitted on him, right down to the ridiculous offer that they tried to give him when they were restructuring his contract. He thought it was a fucking joke, and you can genuinely tell that, like, what a lot of people may felt as though AJ Styles was being somewhat of a prima donna, so to speak. That actually was not the vibe I got. The vibe I basically got was, here is a man that has put in his time, his energy at this respected place of employment for a lot of years, and when it came time for the books to open up and it came time for him to be taken care of, yeah, he was taken care of in the previous years, but like when it really counted the most, as he was being devalued along the way, not by his design, but by basically what was being given to him. He can own up, but only a certain extent of the fact that what was being given to him, who knows, maybe he should have stood his ground a little bit more. Maybe he did try to stand his ground a little bit more and be vocal, but it gets to a point where you feel pretty complacent. You're like, hey, money's good, that's all that matters. But when you kind of see there's a few cracks in the foundation, sometimes as an employee, you need some type of reassurance that, hey, I'm continuing to work with you guys. Can you show me a little tiny bit of y'all are going to continue to make that commitment in me? And honestly, when he felt as though TNA no longer respected him, when he felt as though that his commitment to them after all these years was just kind of like, all right, he did what he needed to do. I know a lot of people were very hurt when he had left TNA Wrestling, but I tell you, it has just been an amazing journey to see him in the WWE. It just has me screaming, man, dude, why didn't you just come to the damn company a lot sooner? Look at what all you missed, man, along the way over these years. So to hear AJ Styles say what he said, this was very revealing. And I don't think a lot of other people are really going to be highlighting this, but I just think the one thing that really jumps out at me the most, the problem was the person who owned the company. Home in on that one more time. The problem was the person who owned the company. What does that tell you? That tells you, first off, he's very well aware. All those years that he was there in TNA Wrestling, you know he made some friends. There are probably some folks over there he considers to be brothers, family to a certain extent. So through his proper connections and, you know, hey, he probably has some friends in the media world as well. So this says to me that he's been following what's been happening with that particular promotion, even though he's been putting in his time this past year in the WWE. So just home in on that. The problem was, and I love the past tense, problem was, and then person who owned past tense. That is a past tense word. So that lets me know that he's been pretty current on what's been happening with that TNA promotion. So I know a lot of people, they want to take a big fat massive crap on Jeff Jarrett and everything like that, but I don't think Jeff Jarrett needs to be in the same argument with Dixie Carter with regards to AJ Styles' demise, because when it's all said and done, AJ Styles did not leave on Jeff Jarrett's watch. And anybody that is a true fan of the TNA promotion, you can easily go back. Jeff Jarrett saw a lot of potential in AJ Styles. You just think about all the infamous feuds that those guys had over the years. Jeff Jarrett knew a damn good thing when he saw it. He knew talent when he saw it. And when Jeff Jarrett was involved in the TNA promotion, he genuinely did try to do everything he could to look out for guys like AJ Styles. But when shit just started getting all weird, and then once Jeff Jarrett was out of there, that pretty much was it. The wrong people got all up in Dixie Carter's ears, and the next thing you know, she started believing the hype, you know, that she was this queen shit or whatever you want to call it. And that's when the bad bookings, the stupidity and writing just came about. If I need to point out one of the greatest examples of AJ Styles' poor run in TNA during like his last 3 years with the company, 2 words: Claire Lynch. Enough said. Enough said. So, you know, I'm just glad that the guy finally made the jump to the WWE. But I tell you what, for him to say what he had said, I don't look at this as him trying to take a cheap shot at the WWE. I know some people, at TNA. I know some people may feel as though that's what I don't genuinely feel. I think he was just being very candid. And you just have some wrestlers that will do that in some of these Q&As. You know, if they get a good question, some of them will just brutally be honest, because it's like these people, they're putting in the time, they're spending the money, and they want to make sure that these guys are getting their money's worth. Now, some will just tell you whatever, but AJ has been consistent. This is nothing new here. I mean, this goes back to the round of interviews that he's done. This coincides with the shoot interviews that he's done. He's always been consistent with his critique of how his tenure was the last few years with the TNA wrestling promotion. So I just thought that was really interesting to share with you guys.